Hello friends, today we are going to continue the novel The Naughtiest Girl in the School, Chapter 2. If you haven't seen Chapter 1, the link given in the description. Chapter 2, Elizabeth goes to school. For the rest of her time at home, Elizabeth was very naughty and also very good. I will try being very, very good and obedient and polite and sweet and see if mother changes her mind, she thought. So, to the surprise of everyone, she became thoughtful, sweet tongued, good mannered, and most obedient. But it had quite the wrong effect because instead of saying that she would keep her at home, now her mother said something different. While Elizabeth, now that I know what a really nice girl you can be, I am not so afraid of sending you to school as I was, she said. I thought you would get into such trouble and be so unhappy. But now that I see how well you really can behave, I'm sure you will get on nice at school. I am very pleased with your behavior. And you can guess what happened after that? Elizabeth at once became naughtier than she had ever been before. If being good makes mother feel like that, I will see what being naughty does, she thought. So she emptied the ink bottle over the cushions in drawing room. She tore a hole in one of the nicest curtains. She put three black petals into poor Miss Scott's toothbrush mug, and she squeezed the seccotine into the end of the both Miss Scott's brown shoes, so that her toes would stick there. Well, all this makes it quite certain that Elizabeth needs to go to school, said Miss Scott angrily, as she tried to get her feet out of her sticky shoes. I am glad to leave her, naughty little girl, and yet she can be so sweet and nice when she likes. Elizabeth's things were packed and ready. She had neat brown trunk with E. Allen painted on it black. She had a tuck box too, with a big currant cake inside, a box of chocolate, a tin of toffee, a jam sandwich, and a tin of shortbread. You will have to share these things with the others, said Miss Scott as she packed the things neatly inside. Well, I shan't then, said Elizabeth. Very well, don't, said Miss Scott. If you want to show everyone what a selfish child you are, just take the chance. Elizabeth put on the outdoor uniform of Wetdef School. It was very neat and she looked nice in it. But then Elizabeth looked nice in anything. The outdoor uniform was a dark blue coat with yellow egg to the collar and cuff, a dark blue hat with a yellow ribbon around it, and the school badge at the front. Her stockings were long and brown, and her lace shoes were brown too. My goodness, you do look a real school girl, said her mother quite proudly. Elizabeth wouldn't smile. She stood there, sulky and angry. I shan't stay at school long, she said. They will soon send me back. Don't be silly, Elizabeth, said her mother. She kissed the little girl goodbye and hugged her. I will come and see you at half term, she said. No, mother, you won't, said Elizabeth. I shall be home long before that. Don't make me sad, Elizabeth, said Mrs. Allen. But Elizabeth wouldn't smile, or she was sorry. She got into the car that was to take her to the station and sat there, very cross and straight. She had said goodbye to her pony. She had said goodbye to Tibby, her dog. She had said goodbye to her canary, and to each of them she had whispered and the same thing. I will be back. You will see. They won't keep the naughtiest girl in the school for long. Miss Scott took her to the station and them up to London in the train. She went with Elizabeth to a big station where trains whistled and chirped and people ran about in a hurry. Now we must find the right platform, said Miss Scott, hurrying too. We have to meet the teacher there, who is in charge of the girl going by this train. They came to the right platform and went through to where a big group of girls stood with the teacher. They were all dressed in dark blue coats and the yellow hat bands like Elizabeth. The girls were of all ages, some big, some small, and most of them were chattering hands. Two or three stood apart, looking shy. They were the new ones, like Elizabeth. The teacher spoke to them now and again, and they smiled gratefully at her. Miss Scott bustled up to the teacher. "Good morning," she said. "Is this Miss Thomas?" "This is Elizabeth Allen. I am glad we are in good time." "Good morning," said Miss Thomas, smiling. She held out her hand to Elizabeth. "Well, dear," she said, "so you are going to join the happy crowd at Whitleaf School?" Elizabeth put her hand behind her back and would not shake hands with Miss Thomas. The teacher looked surprised. The other children stared. Miss Scott blushed red and spoke sharply to Elizabeth. "Elizabeth, shake hands at once." Elizabeth turned her back and looked at the train puffing nearly. "I'm so sorry. She is behaving so rudely," said Miss Scott, really upset. She spoke in a low voice to Miss Thomas. "She is an only child, very, very spoiled, rich, pretty, and she doesn't want to come away to school. Just leave her alone for a bit, and I expect she will be all right." Miss Thomas nodded. She was a merry looking young woman, and the girl liked her. She was just going to say something when a man came hurrying up with four boys. "Good morning, Miss Thomas," he said. "Here is my badge. Sorry I can't stop. I have a train to catch." "Goodbye, boys." "Goodbye, sir," said the four boys. "How many boys have you at Whitleaf this term?" asked Miss Scott. "As many as girls?" "Not quite," said Miss Thomas. "There are some more boys over there. Look, in charge of Mr. John." Miss Scott liked the look of the boys, all in dark blue overcoat and blue caps with yellow badge in front. "Such a good idea," she said, "to educate boys and girls together. For a child like Elizabeth, who has no brother and not even a sister, it is like joining a large family of brothers and sisters and cousins to go to school like Whitleaf." "Oh, they will soon knock the corner of your Elizabeth," smiled Miss Thomas. "Look, here comes our train. We have our carriages reserved for us, so I must find them. The boys have two carriages and girls have three. Come along, girls, here our train." Elizabeth was swept along with others. She was pushed into a carriage with a big label on it, "Reserved for Whitleaf School." "Goodbye, Elizabeth. Goodbye, dear," cried Miss Scott. "Do your best." "Goodbye," said Elizabeth, sudden feeling very small and lost. "I will soon be back," she shouted. "Gracious," said the tubby little girl next to her. "A term's a long time, you know. Fancy saying you will soon be back." "Well, I shall," said Elizabeth. She was squeezed in a heap by the tubby little girl and another on the other side, who was rather bony. She didn't like it. Elizabeth felt sure she would never learn who all the different girls were. She felt a little afraid of the big ones, and she was horrified to think there were boys at her school. Boys? Nasty, rough creature. Well, she would show them that a girl could be rough too. The little girl sat silently as the train rattled on and on. The others chattered and talked and offered sweets around the carriage. Elizabeth shook her head when the sweets were offered to her. "Oh, come on, do have one," said the tubby little girl. Whose sweets they were? "A sweet would do you good." make you look a bit sweeter, perhaps. Everybody laughed. Elizabeth went red and hated the tubby little girl. Ruth, you do say some funny things, said a big girl opposite. Don't tease the poor little things. She's new. Well, so is Belinda, next to you, said Ruth. But she does at least say something when she's spoken to. That will do, Ruth, said Miss Thomas, seeing how red Elizabeth had gone. Ruth said no more, but the next time she offered her sweets round, she didn't offer them to Elizabeth. It was a big journey. Elizabeth was tired when at last the train drew up in a country station, and the girls poured out of the carriages. The boys came to join them, and the children talked eagerly of all they had done in the holidays. Come along now, quickly, said Mr. John, pushing them out of the station gate. The coach is waiting. There was an enormous coach outside the station labeled Whitleaf School. The children took their places. Elizabeth found a place as far as away possible from the tubby little girl called Ruth. She didn't like her one bit. She didn't like Belinda either. She didn't like anyone. They all stared at her too much. The coach set off with a loud clank and rumble. Around the corner it went, down a country lane, up a steep hill, and there was Whitleaf School at the top. It was a beautiful building, like an old country house, which indeed it once had been. Its deep red walls, green and creeper, glowed in the April sun. It had a broad flight at steps leading from the green lawns up to the school terrace. Good old Whitleaf, said Ruth, pleased to see it. The coach swept around to other side of the school, through a gate archway, and up to the front door. The children jumped down and ran up the steps, shouting and laughing. Elizabeth found her hand taken by Miss Thomas. Welcome to Whitleaf, Elizabeth, said the teacher kindly, smiling down at a silky face. I'm sure you will do well here and be very happy with us all. I shan't, said naughty Elizabeth, and she pulled her hand away. It was certainly not a good beginning. Thank you for watching this video.